Lay. Sir. Yeah. Yeah.
Kane is in the building, nigga.
Alright, already the show goes on all night. Till the morning we dream so long. Anybody ever wonder when they will see the sun? Just remember when you come to the show. What's up? Alright, already the show goes on all night. Till the morning we dream so long. Anybody ever wonder when they will see the sun? Just remember when you come to the show.
Hi and welcome to my Big Red Couch. Today I am triple excited because I have Olive here with me, and Olive is visiting from London. She's here in town, and I just took the opportunity to grab hold of her and have her come sit on my Big Red Couch and talk about her new business, Olive Vine Originals. And I'm always intrigued with women who start their own businesses because I know we have special challenges as women, you know, starting up our own businesses. Olive's company is the Natural Body Company. Natural Body, this is a body butter that she has brought for me, and it smells oh so delicious. Tell me, Olive, why did you start your business?
Mainly for myself. I wanted to have just some natural products for my skin because my skin, I suppose, as women get more interesting, so to speak. Our skin tends to change a little bit, and sometimes we need to change with it. And I just wanted something that was a lot more natural. So I just thought I'd try some of this. This is stuff that my parents have always used, and I think our families have always used it. And we, as young people, more progressive, we stop using these things. And sometimes it's good to go back.
Exactly, exactly. What are some of the challenges that you've seen since you started? Any major disappointments, any surprises that you've encountered since you started at Olive Vine Originals?
Well, surprises was myself. The challenges was myself because I'm doing this whilst I'm working full time. So it's just trying to get everything just all in the right place and just to make it a little bit more seamless. I'm sure there will be challenges. There are always going to be challenges because we're not going to be the only, product out there. So, it's just to not necessarily take such a huge notice of the other companies who do this. You just be focused on what you want to do.
And speaking of working, that you were in a job, how have you balanced being an entrepreneur, your work life, your family life? How have you been able to balance this? Because this is not like a little, look at the packaging, look at everything. This is not, I'm sitting at my kitchen table doing this.
Well, it is a little bit like in my kitchen, yes.
I love her accent.
Because I do this at home, so it is well, as my husband says, you're cooking soap or you're cooking dinner. So it's one or the other. So you have got to sort of prioritize. So the majority of the time I do this sort of mainly on the weekends, but there are sometimes I get a bee in my bonnet and it's like, okay, no dinner tonight, I'm cooking soap.
Okay. And we were discussing earlier about marketing. What are some of the ways that you've used to market your business? I know that you have a Facebook page. What are some of the challenges in trying to get your product out there? Because like you said, there's competition, there are the big name brands, Marks and Spencer. She's from London, guys. I didn't say that before. So what are, how have you been marketing this? Who did you first start selling this stuff to?
Believe it or not, it's mainly word of mouth. And
that's the best way.
Absolutely, I totally love that sort of concept because the smaller jar, that is the product I actually started. That is the scent that I use for myself. And I took it to work and everyone was going, what is that smell I can smell in here? So I was like, it is my body butter. Why don't you try some? And actually, I think it went from one person, two person, and nearly all the ladies in my office have bought it. And it just took off like that, and I was like, well, maybe I should try doing it outside of the office to see how that went. So I set up a website for that.
Yes, olivevineoriginals.com.
Absolutely. And then I started, I sort of putting it out there, sort of got business cards and all this sort of flyers, and just started putting it out a little bit further. I need to take it further still.
And Facebook, you're on Facebook,
yeah,
and you have a Facebook page.
Yeah.
What kind of response have you been getting? What kind of results have you been getting from that Facebook page?
Again, from my friends and family, they have been posting a lot of it. When I put something on there, then they take it and they post it on their own and they're sharing it around. But again, because I've got sort of full-time employment, it does take an awful lot of my time to actually try and get a little bit more out there. So I need to push it a little bit harder.
And pushing it a little bit harder, how do you see yourself pushing it a little bit harder? What are your...
I need to take more of a strategic stance on the marketing of me, because I think now I'm at the stage where I want it to take off a little bit more than it is. And it's a bit quiet, what I would call quiet, although it is still, the sales are still there, it needs to get a little bit more. So I'm quite happy to do so much marketing, I no longer need to be employed by someone else or employed by myself, which is where I'm going.
Awesome. I just love entrepreneurship, and especially with us women, because we always want to have our little own money, or little, you know, apart from the bills and everything. We have shoes.
We do shoes. And a new suitcase.
What are some of the biggest ongoing challenges that you found as an entrepreneur?
I think sometimes people don't tend to take you seriously, and it's actually trying to convince them that yes, this is a serious product, this is something that I take seriously, I'm really passionate about, and it's sharing that passion with them and getting them to actually buy into that passion, and then you can see they start to change their concept about the way in which you know, the product, and have more of a belief in you, and then you can actually do that. I think that is I think on a large scale for women is sometimes, I think, the worst thing, because it is very much not geared so much to women in business. It tends to be more male,
yeah. And that leads me right into my next question. How do you rate the level of help available for women in particular who are trying to start their own business? What did you have to ask for any outside help, or, you know, even in general, maybe not for yourself, but for women in general starting their own business?
I think I haven't asked for any outside help. I mean, we're trying to do this, you know, just on our own.
And not to be in debt.
And not to be in debt, because this is not the time to actually sort of take that on board. Because with the climate the way it is, it's not something that you're going to want to get so seriously in debt that, you know, everything else just collapses, and that's not what I'm looking to do. I want a steady, slow growth and steady, slow process. I'm not into the fast buck or the fast pound, because you go fast, you will collapse just as fast, and I don't want this to be something that has no longevity in it. But I do think that, you know, women in general do find it difficult, and I think if we can all support each other and encourage each other, so if you have a good idea and you think, well, you know, maybe I would like to take this idea somewhere, then start doing that and see where it goes, and you'll never know. Because for me, it's always, you know, I always say to myself, if I don't actually start something, then I won't know how great I could have been.
Right, and we were talking about that earlier, about the what ifs. You know, you don't step out on a limb, you're always going to wonder what could have happened if if I did this.
Exactly.
You know, and what have you learned about yourself in this journey, this entrepreneurial journey? What have you learned about yourself? You know, what about yourself, financial processes, you know, stuff like that. What have you learned?
Financial process, I think the fact of the matter is that when you do start a business, you start it really small, but it is going to grow, and it is going to be, it can be a financial burden if that is how you're going to look at it. For me, I have to look at it in a positive way. So if it's a financial burden now, that is not where I want it to be. So I'm looking later on down the road when it won't be so much of a burden, and I hope it will be repaying me, I'll be recouping some profit out of it. So that is the whole point of me wanting to start a business. But I also think that if you are going to start a business, then you be positive, do your homework, do a little bit of testing, and as my husband's forever saying, make sure you do your business plan. Do your business plan, to do some marketing. So you're doing a bit of research as well.
Have you encountered any legislation that helps or hinders women in small business?
In my particular business, then I think you, as I was saying about doing your research, for me it was, well, where do I go with this? I mean, you was asking how do I start it and all of this. It was just for myself. I wasn't looking to sell it to anyone. But it's finding the right, once you find someone, for us, we went to the cosmetologist, you have to have those things in place. You've got to have those legislations in place. Otherwise you cannot actually market it. You cannot sell it to anyone if you haven't got those papers in place. It's insurance, finances, cosmetology reports, all of those things. They need to know what you're going to put in it, how you're going to use it, and you know where you're getting the products from.
Right, and the ingredients and stuff that you have in there.
And you're even given, you know, percentages of what you can put in, what you can't put in it. So for me, it's been brilliant because I'm actually manufacturing the products now for myself, whereas before I was selling someone else's products. And that is where, for me, it's such a growth, it's such a passion, because I can make one
baby.
It's my baby, but also it's like I'll make a body butter and it'll be like, I actually quite like this thing. And then I'll make another one and I'm like, I quite like that. And then it just grows and grows and it just mushrooms. So I could be in the kitchen for 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm still producing.
I'm sure that your husband has a lot to say about
He
that.
does.
You know, and like you said, you know, you have to pursue your dreams. You have to know what you want. You want to see the end result from the beginning.
Absolutely.
Because I think if you don't have a vision in mind from the time you started, it's difficult to get where you want to be at the end. So I keep saying this does not look as though it comes out of your kitchen. It looks as though you have a manufacturing plant and you're doing it. I'm just so totally impressed with the packaging, the quality, and everything. Tell me, do you have a mentor? Do you, if you have a mentor, who is it? And if you don't, why don't you? And do you see a necessity for having a mentor in business?
In business generally, I think for me, it would always, I have to say it's my mother. Because my mom, you know, we come from a really large family, and my mom's skin has always been flawless, always. I know, it's how we grow. And I want to emulate that. You know, forget the grey hairs, we don't do grey. We're not having that conversation. But mom's skin was absolutely smooth all through her life. And it's because she always took care of how what she used on her skin, how she dressed, and she's instilled that in all of us. And for me, she would be my greatest mentor.
And you know, I love that, because I go back to an interview I did a few weeks ago, and I said, you know, that when we're looking for mentors and stuff like that, I think that we should look inside of our own families rather than looking outside, because I mean, they're human beings out there, but I love that your mom is your mentor, because I think that's where mentors and role models should be found, in the home.
But just to be real sick, my husband also is my mentor, because he challenges me. When I think
Well, he's in your home.
yeah, but unfortunately, he can be a right wind-up artist, because I can say, oh, I really like this now, and he'll be like, why do you like it? I'll be like, because I like it. And he was like, yes, but why do you like it? Look into it a little bit more. And that is good, because it does help you to think even further outside of your box. So if I'm going to make a particular set, who am I making it for? Who am I marketing it to? Who am I marketing it to? You know, and if it's got this particular scent, does that scent goes for everyone, or is it? So you can't make it too niche. And it's nice that he's asking me these questions, because at the end of the day, it's not just my business, it's our business, because whatever I do affects him, and whatever he does affects me. So it's really good that he can actually come to me with those questions and be like, I hadn't thought
And then
that.
it gives you like a whole new perspective.
Absolutely.
Also, so it's always good to have a different perspective, because you know, you might not see something that he might see, and that's really, you know,
Yeah,
that's
but
really
men
good.
think differently to us.
Yeah, they do.
They think differently to us, they shop differently to us. It's completely different. So it's nice that you get that man's perspective, and just like when I'm making the creams or the soaps, and I'm like, okay, this is what I think a man's smell should smell like. What do you think? And we're like, it's okay. And they'd be like, that wasn't what I was expecting. I was expecting, yay!
Where do you see all of the originals in the next 10 years? I know that's kind of like far down the road, but we were talking about having long-term vision and stuff like that. You know, where do you see your company going in the next 10 years?
Well, you know, I was looking at sort of where did Body Shop start? And I see it starting in very similar veins, where one woman took an idea that she had, and it's everywhere. But it's, again, it was small steps and getting the right advice and taking it further on down the line. So for me, I want to see little Olivine shops all over the place. But that's where I would like it to be in 10 years' time. Not just, yeah, it will always start in my kitchen, and that's fine because that's where I am at the moment, but I'm not expecting it to stay in my kitchen. It's got to get out of my kitchen and more in your home.
In my home, and I do have some of this. Who are your biggest supporters?
My family are my biggest supporters. They are absolutely great. My sisters, I've got 6 of them. So there's, you know, the supply chain going on somewhere. But they are my biggest supporters, and my husband is absolutely huge supporter. My daughter is even, both my children are really, really great. I mean, they have got different niches, so they look at different things. And my daughter's one that actually set up my website for me.
And it's a beautiful website, OutFlyOriginals.com. I just was on there a couple of days ago, and I was looking and said, this is a really neat, it's easy to navigate.
Yeah.
It's really easy to navigate. I love that. You know, how do you develop your product lines?
Well, again, it's, would I like something? Do I like the way it smells, the way it looks? And we were talking earlier on about where you start and where you are now. And where I started, the product doesn't look the same, it doesn't feel the same, it doesn't smell the same, because as you grow, it becomes a little bit better. The product, the consistency is better. It just moves along. And you know, I like the way where I am now is exactly where how I see the product. You know, the way it is, the consistency is, the way I see it growing. But it will get better and better with time.
And it's really good right now. So imagine, you know, years down the road, we're gonna be, I'm like, you know what? I had this when it first started. Yeah.
My sister's going, I've got my first.
You have the original. We're the originals. Tell me a little bit, and not to share your trade secrets or anything, just tell me a little bit about the ingredients in your product. Are they hypoallergenic? You know, just briefly, you know, tell me a little bit about.
Okay, they are all natural ingredients. Where I actually obtain the products from, the raw produce from, it's a natural. The company only deals with natural products, so it's easy then, and so much easier to just do my orders, get it in, and just make the whole thing. I know exactly what's going in it. It's mainly shea butter or cocoa butter, and all of the beautiful natural oils that just so naturally absorbed by our skin. Our skin craves it. It's packed full of vitamins, extra vitamin E, vitamin A's, all the things that we like to ingest. It's also the same for topical application. It's just absolutely beautiful.
And how quickly are you able to respond to, like, questions on your website? Are you, like, if someone has a question, or, you know, how quickly are you able to do that? Do you have that capability within your website to actually generate answers to some of the questions that you might have? Customer service.
There's an email button, so you can always email me a question, and I will personally answer that within 24 hours.
Personally answer that within 24 hours. And this is only now because you're going to grow. You're not going to have time for, you know, personally answer. And I foresee that for you. I foresee this company going really, really fast. If this soap has anything to do with it, I'm going to take a shower with this tonight. So I'll be jealous.
Absolutely, I'm sure you will enjoy that.
I will, and I'm really glad that you came into town and that I had this opportunity to get to sit with you, because you live all the way across the pond, so to speak.
Absolutely.
You know, I probably would never have had this opportunity. I would have had the opportunity to try the product, but not to actually speak to you in person, one-on-one about this. And that's what I love about my Big Red Culture. I can just have people, anyone who I want, come and sit on my couch and talk about themselves, talk about, you know, the business, share themselves and their business with other people. And I am. And if your skin is anything to go by, go by, you people should be running out and buying this in droves. Olivineoriginals.com. Try it, you're gonna love it. Thank you so much. And one other question that I have for you, and I ask this quite a lot, not all the time, but quite a lot on my couch. If your life were a theme song, what would it be? I feel good. I knew that I was there. Oh, sorry, I know. You know what? If you burst out in song, I love it. Everybody knows that I love music. So if you burst out in song, you have me, and along with a few other things. But I really enjoy having you on my Big Red Couch. It's a pleasure. Thank you so much. And by the way, Olive's family, Olive knew me when I was.
Oh, I don't think you were that ill.
So this is kind of like personal for me, and I haven't seen her for a long time. So this has been, I'm so happy for you. So happy that you have your business going, and I see it going really far into the future. So thank you once again, and until next time, be incredible, be inspired, be rad. Bye.
Wow! I feel good. I knew that I wouldn't. I feel good. I knew that I wouldn't.